This is our first lesson on Year 11 power, or power and politics, but it's called power in the exam. Yeah? So we're going to learn about the basics of the political system in the UK, to understand how it works, and to think about our system of democracy. Yeah? It's not any particular page in the book, we just need to know this stuff if we're going to really understand how power and political power in Britain works. Keywords are democracy, pure, representative, parties, constituencies, population 650, parliament, practical. All these keywords will become obvious as we go through the tasks. Now, we're just going to answer some questions. 10 questions. By answering them, we'll get the basics of politics in Britain. So, question 1. What is a democracy? Democracy is a country or a political system where the people choose their leaders. The people vote, and the people decide what is done. That's a democracy. What is a pure democracy? This is the democracy we had in ancient Greece when it was first started, where everybody who was allowed to vote voted on everything. So once a week in Athens, all the people who were allowed to vote, a few hundred people, would gather and actually vote on every little thing. Shall we build these ships? Shall we dig some sewers? Shall we build this temple? They would vote, everybody would vote on everything. So question 3, why do we not have a pure democracy? Yeah? Because it is simply not practical. We have millions of people, we have a lot of things to organise. It wouldn't work if everybody could vote on everything all the time. Yeah? It might actually work in the future with technology, being able to vote at home, perhaps, people do talk about this, but certainly at the moment, a pure democracy would not work. It is not practical. So question 4, what do we have instead? We have a representative democracy, it is called. Yeah? We have a representative democracy. Question 5, how does it work? 100 words. Okay, here we go. Here's Great Britain and Northern Ireland. As you can see, it's multicoloured, it's got these little lines. We divide the country into 650 areas of land. They're called constituencies. Some are very large, some are tiny. It's done on population. It's roughly every 100,000 people. So up here, where there's few people, this is one constituency, and in London they're tiny, because they have a lot more population density. So we divide the country up into 650 areas of land called constituency. Each constituency, when there's an election, they elect one representative. Yeah, they elect one representative. We know them as your Member of Parliament, your MP. So in the case of you lot in Croydon, here's Croydon, Croydon North, Croydon Central, Croydon South. So Croydon has 3 constituencies. New Addington is here in Croydon Central. So Croydon Central, at the last election, 2010, Croydon Central, the person who won the election in Croydon Central was Gavin Barwell. And that is why Gavin Barwell is your MP. He's your Member of Parliament. He's your representative in Parliament. Okay. Got it. So, who do you really vote for in an election? You don't vote for Gavin Barwell. You vote for a political party, Labour, Conservative, Lib Dem, whatever it is. So you don't really vote for the individual, you're voting for the party they represent. And the key is getting more than half the MPs. Yeah? So why do we have political parties? To make it easier for us to know who to vote for. Instead of having individual people having to figure out individually what they think. You know what Labour think, you know what Conservatives think, you know what Lib Dems think. They've got a plan for everything. We call it their manifesto. They're going to do this for schools, this for hospitals, this for the army, this for immigration, blah, 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 blah. Roads, hospitals, schools, Air Force, railways, airports. They've got a plan for everything. And you pick the party that you think will help you the most, or the party you agree with the most. And you vote for whoever is from that party. So in Croydon Central, most of the people, or the biggest single crowd of people, wanted the Conservatives to win. So they voted for Gavin Barwell, because he was the Conservative candidate. So, how do we decide who is the government? Yeah? Who is the government? And the government is based on the magic number, 326. There are 650 MPs. If you have 326 of them voting for you, you're the government. You have all the power. Yeah? So remember that number. It's the magic number in British politics. So the MPs go to Westminster, the Houses of Parliament. And they sit in the big room, the House of Commons, and this is where the 650 gather. The government, whoever's in charge, whoever has more than this number, sits over here. Everybody else sits over here. And they have arguments. But at the end of the arguments, they always win, because they have more than half the votes. So that's how you become the government. You become the government by having more than, or at least, 326 MPs on your side. So how do we decide who is the Prime Minister? Yeah. So the Prime Minister at the moment is David Cameron, and he's the Prime Minister because he is the leader of the Conservative Party, and they're the biggest single party in Parliament. He wasn't elected Prime Minister, he's an MP. But once the Conservatives are the biggest single party, they elect him, they appoint him as Prime Minister. Yeah? And finally, what does first past the post mean? We have a first past the post system, which means the first party to reach this number wins. They win everything. They don't have to share power. If you have this many MPs, you're in charge. The other party can have 324, almost the same as you, and have no power. It's first past the post. Whoever wins, wins. It's the same in constituencies. So in Croydon Central, let's say Gavin Barwell got 10,000 votes. The Labour guy got 9,000, and the Lib Dem got 8,000. So that means he hasn't got half the votes, he's got less than half the votes, but he's got the most single votes, therefore he wins everything. Because he got the most votes, he won the race, he wins everything. First past the post.